Hey everyone, and welcome back to my completionist playthrough of the Baldur's Gate Saga with SCS and Ascension. And when we last left off, we've just dealt with Tahazar and his demonic lackeys, but just as Yakman, aka Tamorlin, said, there are a lot more fiends trapped in this maze, and we'll have a chance to get very familiar with all of the different types of them as we continue our journey through this level of Watcher's Keep. But before we do, let's actually go back a little bit to the Wild Magic Zone where we fought the Quasits, because there was one comment mentioning that I missed a loot pile there. It's a very insignificant loot pile, but as true completionists we are going to go back for it, but that's actually not the actual reason. We are doing this because I would like to have at least a chance to showcase one of the features that SCS provides for this level, which is whenever you travel through areas that you've already been to, there is a chance that some additional enemies might spawn. So for example, there might be a pit fiend that just would jump out of the portal after us here, but didn't happen yet. Yeah, here's the 9 gold that I missed. And now we're going to go back and still have some chances to perhaps meet some other opponents. And I also like that kind of component, you know, not only from the gameplay perspective, where it just kind of keeps you on your toes, but also from a role-playing one, showcasing that, you know, these other fiends and inhabitants of this level also travel through portals, trying to find their way out, and sometimes you might stumble upon them. Anyway, we unfortunately didn't get any additional enemies, it seems, but at least I had the opportunity to discuss that. And also, one more thing I would like to address, one other comment, where the writer expressed his disbelief, I guess, when it comes to the fact that powerful demons such as glabrezu or Ballurs were actually susceptible to stun. And that's the kind of thing I would like to discuss here for a minute, is that fiends actually are not immune to that many status effects. Their immunities mostly involve mind-affecting, debilitating spells and effects like charm or confusion or fear, but they are actually susceptible to quite many others. Like, for example, you can disable them with as simple a spell as emotion hopelessness, for example, but it's rarely ever worth it to try, because the main problem with fiends is their high magic resistance, that's usually at least 50, and also decent saving throws. So most spells that you throw at them are going to fail one way or another. But that's why Smite was perfect for the job, because it's not a magical effect and it doesn't allow a saving throw. But anyway, now we're going to progress through this portal, and I wasn't concerned about losing my buffs in the previous Dead Magic Zone, because we are about to step into another one. And this time we're going to be fighting some devils, and devils, most of them have that fear aura going, and we're actually going to give Peridan to Kirinai, so that she is unaffected by their fear. And that's because there are also going to be some traps in the next room, and she is going to be our character that is going to be close to those traps, because she is going to attempt to disarm them. And that's kind of one of the dangers in the next room, is that whenever you lose control over your characters and they start running around, they can actually, you know, trigger those traps. And we are going to want to disarm, well, primarily one of them that's actually somewhat threatening. But anyway, let's actually go in and check it out. Oh yeah, here we actually got that line. The air feels unusually stale and heavy here. It's as if all of the energy and power has been sucked out of the room. Yeah, that's the description of a dead magic zone. And also the Pit Fiend says that if we BG2 are to be trapped forever in this maze, then we shall feast on the hearts of mortals. So here we're going to have a group of devils. The Cornigons normally... oh yeah, also a property of this dead magic zone that kind of works in our favor, although I wish it didn't, is the fact that our opponents are not going to cast their spells either. So the Cornigons are not going to use their lightning bolts, and the Pit Fiends is not going to use his meteor swarm or his double damage fireball, because normally fireball caps out at 10d6 damage, but Pit Fiends and Demon Knights have a double damage one that actually deals 20d6. And of course, Pit Fiends also have some other spells, like they have Simple Fear, in addition to their like Demon Fear. That this should be called the Devil Fear, by the way, because demons, I don't think any of the demons actually has this aura. It's only the devils that most of them do have that. But anyway, let's start detecting traps right away and kind of wait for them to come to us. Alright, so here's the first one, and we're going to just run past everyone with Kirinai and engage everyone else with the rest of our party. And here in the back, We're also going to meet two Velithu, kind of salamander-looking devils, and the thing with them is that they are actually ranged attackers, and they actually attack with the short bow of Gessen. They are supposed to have ranged attacks that deal physical and lightning damage. So yeah, they have Grand Mastery with short bows, and that's why they're going to deal 7 physical damage and then some additional electricity damage. It's nothing really to be that concerned about, yeah, as you can see here. We mostly want to disarm this trap here, because this one unleashes an incendiary cloud, and the 3 others, there's always a trap kind of on the way to the portal. The 3 other traps are just slow traps, so they're not that big of a deal. But it seems like that Pit Fiend already died, so we can switch our attention to the Cornigons. Senashira got poisoned and stunned, which is not that great, but Kirinai is going to be able to take care of that, and we should be able to protect Senashira well enough with this Cornigon about to die. Alright, here's that trap. No one actually got feared, it seems, so that's pretty nice. And you know, we can just make sure that we heal Senashira here. And make sure that these Velithu can't unleash their full damage. Alright, that was slightly messy with that stun on Senashira, but we got through it. Alright, so here are all the traps, and we're going to have to continue our journey south. Alright, it seems like we have everything. I'm not missing any any gold or anything else. Now, we are going to, I think from on now on, switch this fire resistance ring to Imoen. Also, let's actually take some more arrows for her to use. And, oh yeah, of course we don't need this Paradan sword anymore. In the next room, we are actually going to have to, I think I'm already going to get some of these helmets of charm protection out, the equalizer, and we're also going to get a Jatha, the drinker, which is going to go to Kirinai to make her immune to charm. Now Animan is also going to have to be protected against negative energy. We're going to protect Senashira from charm using the equalizer, and I think we're going to have the helmets on Jaheira and Animan. You know what, we can also get the third one and give it to Saravok. Now, what else? We need to just continue healing here. Okay, one more round of that.
What is it?
And I think also what we might do is actually for that fight, for just the beginning of it, we're going to give the rune hammer to Senashira, and we're going to give the Amulet of Power to Jaheira, so that we have 3 of our frontline characters protected against level drain.
Speak without doubt.
And I think once again we're just going to use our second Avoid Death. Although, should we? I'm kind of deciding, and also when we are going to pre-buff a little bit later, you'll see that I'm going to be hesitant a little bit when it comes to using all of my spells right away, because I kind of want to go through this entire level without resting. So for example, we're not going to use all of our chaotic commands on a fight coming up soon, because it's more important to save up these chaotic commands that could potentially get dispelled for a fight later on, but we'll see how that's going to go. You know, I think I'm going to just leave this Avoid Death. Yeah.
Yes.
We can of course take some level drain, you know. I'm always trying to play it clean and be always immune to it whenever it is a threat. But of course, if it happens and we have to restore, especially a character like Kirinai, it's not going to be a big deal at all.
Quickly and precisely.
And you know what, before we go in, actually let's do the level up. So Senashira is going to be level 23 in Mage, and now she basically has everything she needs. We can get energy blades for her. And Saravok is going to complete his death blow route here in his abilities by getting greater death blow. And this one, you know, since it goes up to level 12, we are going to have some uses for that. Right, now let's finally go in.
Your soul shall be mine.
Here Succubus addresses us. Ah, look here, dear ladies. Yet another hapless wanderer drifting through these endless portals. Is it lost, do you think? Shall we ask it? So, what do you think of our little maze prison, female mortal? Oh, do not look upon us so suspiciously. We do not seek to hurt you. Much. If you wish, my Alu sisters and I will be more than glad to lead you through this endless maze to the end, where you can find the cavern with the portal out of this place. It is your choice, dear mortal. And I guess, just to make it clear what they intend, let's actually ask about what's the catch. Yeah, they require nothing more than a kiss, dear one, a little piece of your life energies, nothing more than a taste, and we shall bring you on your way. You can afford it, mortal. What do you say? So yeah, this kiss is basically the spell Energy Drain. That is going to drain 2 levels from us, unless we are protected, like Senashira is, for example. And yeah, if you actually accept their offer, they are going to bring you to the last room, the cavern with the portal, but it's pointless because we still have to collect the 2 other Scepter gems to be able to complete the Scepter of Radiance and actually be able to repair that portal out. So we're just going to kill them. I'd say it's time to die, demon. I actually have some unique voiced lines here.
Your death shall be beautiful.
Your death lies here, fool. This is your end, I assure you. Death will only be the beginning for you. I shall enjoy gutting you like the dog you are.
That's kind of mean, dude. So, anyway, these Alu-Fiends, they have some charming spells, that's why we protected ourselves against that, and the Succubus can drain levels with its attack. And also the Alu-Fiends have some like mirror images and stuff like that, and they can dual wield with, and can dish some amounts of physical damage, but we should get, actually some of our characters still have that spell failure, but now we are going to be free from the dead magic zones, and we are going to be able to apply some buffs soon here. And actually let's leave Imoen a little bit in the back and just charge this Succubus so that we can change our weapons after she's dead to our primary ones. Okay, so they hasted. They didn't even manage to try to charm anyone, it seems, knowing that we are protected, I guess. And fortunately the level drain did not work on Imoen, but we need to protect her. I think the level drain is on the Succubus's ranged attack, and she actually attacked in melee. She has 2 different weapons, I think. Because yeah, the Succubus level drain is actually connected to her quote-unquote weapon attack that looks like a spell orb, but that's just how the projectile looks. Anyway, so yeah, they have some mirror images. The Succubus is dead, so now let's just quickly get our equipment in order, and now we can just go and destroy them. And we can actually use our trick here with attacking Kiranai, activating detecting traps, and she is going to be able to remove their mirror images through her detect illusion while attacking. Okay, now it happened already. Let's just focus our attacks here, monitor our damage, kind of be on top of our healing here. And that's it. Nothing too serious.
Yes, it will be done.
Alright, now for the next fight we actually don't need to prepare already. We can just step through the portal and see what awaits us next. We're going to meet the devil counterpart to Tahazar, actually, once we step through.
mortal new, a fleshling true. With you there is no blood war. Speak, mortal, and stay your sword.
So we can once again ask about the blood war.
To this maze we have been brought, led by the force we long have sought. We wish to return to Beator again, but our attempts to gate are all in vain. Our ancient blood war foes, the Tanari, are also in this place. No doubt they are responsible for the plight we now face. But the Tanari be too strong. Our battles have been many and long. You have great power, mortal, it is true. Kill the Baldur, Tahazar, and be rewarded by the BG2.
Yeah, and he actually has no no reservations when it comes to cooperating with us. And that's actually one mistake I think I made in the introductory video to the Baldur's Gate 2 portion of the Saga playthrough, because I kind of confused this situation. And since now we have the Heart of Tahazar already, we can actually give it to him and get some experience rewards and also a unique item, and that you can't get by just killing these demons. You have to obtain it by cooperating with one of them. You can either cooperate with Tahazar if you are not lawful or good, and then this fight, if you have accepted Tahazar's offer that he would pose to you if we weren't, you know, good aligned, then Karashur here would sense that we have, you know, kind of entered the blood war on the side of Tahazar, and he would initiate combat immediately. So this fight would start immediately. But this fight is not that big of a deal because you can pre-buff before it, because the last zone wasn't a dead magic zone. But I didn't, because here we're just going to present him Tahazar's heart, and we're going to get the rewards, and they are not actually going to go hostile. And then we're going to have some time to pre-buff, and of course kill them anyway, because we want to cleanse this level from this whole fiendish infestation.
You have the heart of the Baldur. You have our gratitude forevermore. Strange, though, that we still cannot gate. Perhaps the Tanari had naught to do with our fate?
Yep, I like this rhyming weirdo, but we are going to kill all of them anyway. So yeah, we got 20,000 personalized experience, and we also got this Thieves' Hood, which is an upgradable item, and also the second Scepter Gem. Right, now when it comes to this, we can also talk to him once more.
We are busy, mortal, attempting to summon our gate. Whatever you are wishing, it will have to wait.
Right, so like I said, we are not going to use all of our magical buffs, because we have to use them sparingly over the course of this whole level to get the most effectiveness out of them, but we are going to be able to buff up with some of our usual stuff. We are of course going to need Remove Fear against these devils, because Karashur is a pit fiend, and you know the Kornagons have that fear aura, and also there are going to be bone fiends that have that, so we would most likely gotten feared. And actually, before we cast more, let's get level 32 for Animen, and he is on his way to Grand Mastery. 2 flails. Eventually, like probably before the final fight of Throne of Bhaal, we're probably going to get Grand Mastery, but anyway, now he's going to be able to do 1 more damage, being a high master of the weapon. Anyway, so now we have that. Yeah, now this fight, since the Kornagons, and there are also going to be Velithus, so there are going to be sources of lightning damage, because they can cast lightning bolts, and the Velithus have lightning damage on their weapons. We also have to protect against cold, because these bone fiends can cast cones of cold, and we are most likely going to be quite bunched up during this fight, because we are going to try to really focus our damage to get rid of Karashur first, and that's why we're not really going to pre-buff more to get more fire resistance, because he's the only one that can unleash fire damage, and he is going to be our first target. So let's check our health here a little bit. I guess Kira and I can heal up. And yeah, here we are going to actually have a Charm of Protection going from Anomen to Kiranai. She is not going to use a Jatha, I think, but we're going to want to maximize her damage. I think what we're going to do... Oh yeah, now let's actually talk about the opponents first. Let's finish up the opponent talk. Here we also have this one Erinis, who can cast charm spells. That's why we are going to protect ourselves against charm to some extent, because like I said, I'm not going to use all of our chaotic commands. We are going to use chaotic commands on Anomen and on Senashira, I think. On Senashira, because she is going to be protected against the spells with her spell immunity to abjuration. And on Anomen, because we basically want to have a resistance helmet on him. And he, of course, casts a very high level chaotic commands anyway, so it should stay, but, you know, just in case. Let's be safe and actually save some of the other chaotic commands for a little bit later. Alright, also we are going to use some defensive spells here. I think on Senashira we're just going to use mirror images and probably just start out with having protection from magical weapons. Actually, we're not even going to use mirror images for that. But we're going to have stone skins and mirror images on Imoen. Also, when it comes to Imoen, you are going to buff up with... we're going to use a special scroll on her. We're going to protect her from charm by using this minor spell deflection. You can cast that on yourself already. We're also going to have Armors of Faith on our Divine Casters for some additional resistances to all of the elements that we mentioned. And also, I think we are going to take out some scrolls. At least on Jaheira, we're going to protect her from cold, I think. Yeah, we have quite a few of those to spare, and I think Anomen is also going to take that. We also have these boots, but we want to generally have the boots of speed on. We'll see how our situation develops. I think we can also give one of these scrolls to Kirina, I think. Just kind of thinking how I want to spread out my buffs, because we have one protection from energy that is going to go onto Senashira, and we have... yeah, I think that's going to be how we do it. We have this protection against energy, and that is going to go onto Senashira, because her buffs are going to be able to stay, because she is going to be protected with a spell immunity to abjuration that they can't do anything about. And in the next room, we are actually going to have a use for the acid resistance that this spell also provides. And then I think we can spare maybe this protection to the elements. We can probably spare it on Saravok, who might switch to his Helm of the Rock once we get rid of the Erinis. And yeah, we are protecting against Charm because it's so easy to protect against it. We don't need to be protected against Confusion, so we don't need to use like the Equalizer, for example. And you know, these Helms of Charm Protection are going to protect us well enough. And this Erinis actually has the ability to cast protection from magical weapons, so it might not be that easy to kill her. And also we have much more, or many more, higher priority targets to first kill, so that's why we are protecting ourselves against Charm.
I am ready.
And yeah, Jaheira. Oh yeah, Jaheira was supposed to be protected against cold. Let's just have, you know, some protections. A scroll on her combined with her Armor of Faith, you know, should make her quite resistant to damage. On Kirina, we don't need to commit that much to the whole concept because she has a good health pool, and she might have some special tasks in that. In this encounter. We also have the boots that provide us 50% electrical resistance, but like I said, we're not going to go all out with all of these, protections. We're also going to enter the fight with True Seeing going on, and we're going to cast that on Anomen, so it's hard to remove. Okay, and I think this is going to be pretty much it. I guess we can also cast Protection from Fire on Senashira. That lasts a very long time. And we are going to use this Fire Shield Blue on her for her cold resistance. And this would be a very worthy fight to use haste on, but for us haste is going to be more important later, and we have well, we have scrolls, but I also don't want to get like excessively fatigued, although we do have that ability now from Senashira that can remove fatigue sometimes when it when it works, but I think I'm just going to save haste for later. And here we're just going to use spell immunity to abjuration on our mages, and we're going to be ready. This is kind of a very specific kind of a pre-buff sequence, but that's what we need to do. Also, Animan, you can get some drop on Holy Might. And yeah, in order to initiate this fight, oh yeah, of course, in a situation like this you can use traps and stuff like that, but I'm not going to. And in order to initiate this fight with dealing like as little damage as possible, we're just going to shoot this imp with Imoen.
Betrayal comes as no surprise to demons made only of lies.
Right, Senashira, I'm sorry, but quoting Resar from Baldur's Gate 1, apologies, but you must die. Just go hostile. Alright. And there we go. Oh yeah, we also have True Seeing because Bone Fiends, Imps, and I think something else can go Improved Invisible. I think Pit Fiends actually can go Improved Invisible, although Karashur is unlikely to do so. I think he's going to use other abilities. And yeah, I think we can use this protection from magical weapons. Yeah, there is a remove magic coming onto Saravok, so we'll see if any of our Animan's pre-buffs get dispelled or not. Oh yeah, here are the Bone Fiends showing up. Anyway, we want to just deal with Karashur as quickly as possible, so he cannot unleash a lot of his stuff. And yeah, we did get... actually, Karashur received some electricity damage, because devils have 0 electricity resistance. That's a quote-unquote weakness. I mean, they still have a lot of magic resistance, but I guess this Kornagon was pretty lucky to damage Karashur. Yeah, their Erinyes actually has the protection from magical weapons, and of course she is innately protected against non-magical ones. And yeah, they did unleash some damaging spells, but it seems like we were quite fine after that volley, I guess. And Karashur is dead now, so I think the next order of business, since Erinyes has, or Erinyes has a protection from magical weapons, we're just going to try to clear out these Kornagons, I think, because they can cast remove magic, whereas the Bone Fiends still have that nasty Cone of Cold, but they cannot cast remove magic. Unless I'm misremembering. Yeah, so we are quite bunched up here, trying to maximize our damage. So these potential Cones of Cold can be quite nasty, but I guess they are more nasty to the other devils than to us, really. And yeah, also because the devils have 0 electricity resistance, that's why we are still using the short bow of Gessen. We are probably not going to switch to the Fire Tooth yet on this level, because all fiends are immune to fire. Almost all of them, but most. What are you attacking? Let's continue on that last Kornagon. Alright, boom, now the Bone Fiends are going to be important to deal with. There's only one of them. Alright, Erinyes, do you have your protection still? Yes, you do. We could spend 1 breach on it, but I think it's about to expire anyway. Let's actually continue attacking her. Alright, now... There we go. Let's have some people prepared. Oh yeah, to get this imp. I hate these imps.
Come on, let's kill something now. I hear you well enough. What you want?
At least Lilarcor graced us with a funny line. I love that one. Let's kill someone now. Oh my god, I hate these imps. They are even worse than the Quasits, I think. Just going, oh my god, they go invisible so quickly that you can't even hit them once. Okay, that one is dead at least. It's just a nightmare dealing with them. And also, you know, this normally obviously doesn't matter. Like, you know, if you take a few more rounds to defeat them, what does it matter? But it actually matters for us, because we want to have that acid protection that Senashira has, in the next room as well, and this is a buff that only lasts for 1 round per level. So of course, you know, cast by Imoen, it is going to last for 2 turns, but still, you know, these buffs are important. Let's get on with it, you know, let's get on with our business here. Alright, finally. Let's loot this and kind of be on our way. Also, I would like to do one more fight in this episode. Alright, nice mass invisibility. Okay, yeah, of course we have the Method's harp, and then we have Karashur's heart, but it's pointless to carry it around. There is no use for it now that Tahazar is dead. It's basically, you know, just to present it to Tahazar and get the quest rewards from him. And we did that quest the other way around, cooperating with Karashur. Alright, this is going to be all. And now when it comes to the next fight, we can unequip our Helms of Charm Protection. We're not going to need them anymore. What we are going to need is some acid resistance. Oh, that was incorrect. Now let me just have a quick look. These Gifts of Peace, of course, don't provide acid resistance. The only helmet that does is this one, the Helm of the Rock. And Saravak is nicely protected still. Oh no, of course he isn't. I was meant to give him a scroll.
I shall go forth at your command.
So that he can have 75 acid resistance. Also, when it comes to our divine casters, we are going to have a plan for them. Yeah, Saravak is going to get a scroll, Anamen is going to get a scroll, and Jaheira is going to get the Shadow Dragon scale. So everyone should have a decent protection against acid, and it's not going to be that big of a deal. We're basically going to have to stand in our own death fog, so I don't want to take too much damage from it, but of course it is not a great amount of damage that it deals per round, so it's not that big of a deal. Also, we have that deafness debuff that is going to... Oh yeah, it already faded, and it wouldn't affect our scrolls anyway, so we were safe to cast those. Yes, you might get some mirror images. You are protected, and the only unprotected person that we are going to protect with this protection from acid is Kirinai, and she is going to get a 100% resistance from that. Alright, and now we are ready to progress. And this is going to be a very notable fight in the next chamber. So, here is that obelisk that was mentioned in Tamorlin's or Yakman's journal. So from here we are going to have to change our directions and progress to the west from this room. But anyway, when it comes to this chamber, it's very, very much improved by SCS, because normally, without SCS, I think there are only 2 glabrezu in this room, and only one of them casts or summons some companions, some creatures. But here, as you can see, we also have one here. So we have 6 of these glabrezu. They all get protection from magical weapons and the different fire shields. And they are going to, for the first couple of rounds, they are going to just keep summoning creatures, and they are mostly going to involve greater fire elementals and ice salamanders. So not that big of a deal, but with the amounts they are going to be able to summon, you know, without being able to deal with them with something, they are going to quickly become a problem. And of course, they have all of those protections that we are going to try to get rid of quickly, unleashing our triple remove magic spell sequencer with Senashira here. Hopefully it's going to reach all 4 of these guys here, and we are also going to unleash our very high level dispel magic from Anamen, and hopefully this one is going to be able to reach these 3, and that should allow us to hopefully dispel their protections from most of them, so that we can get straight to the killing right away. Let's actually move with our fighters in here. And after Anomen is done with casting his spell, we are going to unleash our Death Fog in the middle of this room. So because Death Fog, of course, is a spell that instantly kills summoned creatures, and it is going to work on all of the creatures that they summon. And of course, it ticks, once every round, so it's going to be able to keep clearing those summons. But it's not going to encompass the whole room, I think. So sometimes we might be forced to kite some of these creatures a little bit into the center. We'll see how this is all going to work out. First, I need to make sure that Anomen casts his Dispel Magic successfully, and then we're going to start casting with Imoen. And Imoen is, of course, not protected against acid because she is not going to be in there, in the chamber. She's not going to really take that much of a part when it comes to this encounter. Alright, this is fantastic. We've managed to affect all 4 of those and dispel them successfully. And I think now that Anomen is casting Dispel Magic already, we're going to start casting that Death Fog, and we're going to place it maybe around here.
Retreat or fall before me.
Yeah, so here come the summons. The different like fogs and clouds that these glabrezu create with their summon spells are just like visual effect. They don't do anything to us. They don't do any damage or don't place any debuffs on us. Alright, so that glabrezu is dead. Now let's move on to the next one. The Dispel Magic from Anomen is in effect. So let's use Anomen to deal some damage as well, and soon we should have this Death Fog. Yeah, it was cast. It is going to take effect in a second. Alright, so the first cleanup of these summons was done. This one is still intact because the Death Fog, like I said, is not going to reach everywhere. We still have one more Death Fog in Imoen's spell trigger, but I think I'd rather save it, although I think we're kind of past the opportunities we had to use it, and we might have to create a different spell trigger for her. But we'll see about that. Perhaps we're going to be able to use it to some effect. Alright, the glabrezu now started casting some remove magics sometimes as well. They are able to use their normal spells, like Power Word, Stun, or Confusion as well, but we're mostly concerned about dealing as much damage to them as possible. So I didn't equip like Ajatha or Equalizer because they are very rarely going to cast anything else than the summons in the first couple of rounds. Alright, let's continue. Let's go. Maybe, Imoen, you can maybe fire a couple of arrows at this guy. Yeah, these elementals are, and the ice salamanders are out of range of our Death Fog. We are going to have to kite them a little bit to the northwest after we are done with killing this glabrezu. Oh, also we need to, whenever they apply their mirror images, we need to use our Detect Illusion to get rid of that, to maximize our damage. Alright, boom. Let's now move everyone a little bit to the northwest, so we can do a little cleanup on these summons that's blocking us heavily. Yeah, let's attack this glabrezu here. I think that should make sure that, yeah, they are dying. Actually, let's just bring them all over here. Oh yeah, the glabrezu is now following us as well. That's very good. Now let's just dispel his mirror images and then go all out. Is fire elemental somehow unaffected? Alright, now he is. Let's remove his mirror images again, and boom, there we go. It's gonna be a very nasty encounter if you come here unprepared. Yeah, all of these clouds are going to vanish. I think we should even be able to clear them out with our own Zone of Sweet Air. No, that's just a visual effect, and Zone of Sweet Air doesn't affect it. But it did remove our Death Cloud, or Death Fog. So yeah, we can move without getting injured. But anyway, we are going to, kind of just for the visual effect, we're going to wait for it to dissipate here, and we are going to have to pre-buff before we go to the next chamber, but that is going to also happen in the next episode, I think. We're also, just when I'm thinking about it, let's actually switch out Sarevok's sword. I think when it comes to our gear, I might actually rework it in between episodes, since we are going to end this one here. So as always, I thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed our fights that we've had in here, and for the last couple of ones, I am going to invite you to watch the next episode then, to witness those. So once again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.